This is Film Center, your number one show for real entertainment industry news. No fluff, all facts. Now, here are your anchors, Derek Johnson II and Nicholas Killian.
Hey everybody, welcome to Film Center, your number one place for entertainment industry news. My name is Derek Johnson II.
I'm Nicholas Killian.
And Nicholas, what are we getting into today?
Today we're going to be talking about the Kung Fu Panda franchise and the Fast and the Furious franchise.
Yes, Kung Fu Panda and Fast and Furious. Kung Fu Panda has announced a fourth movie, and people are already talking about Fast X that's going to be coming out in May.
Yep.
Two franchises that, to be fair, I didn't think either one of these would be reaching these numbers. When I first saw Kung Fu Panda, it felt like a one-off, and then Fast and Furious, I'll be honest, I was 6 when that came out, the first one.
Yeah, I was pretty young myself.
But I have enjoyed it over the years. So what are we looking at when it comes to these two franchises?
So basically what we're looking at is quality versus quantity. So we have the quality, me personally thinking that it's the Kung Fu Panda franchise is the quality one, because obviously it came out 6 years afterwards, but there's only 3 completed movies of Kung Fu Panda versus the 9 or 10, whichever you would want to say, versus the Fast and the Furious franchise.
I think that if you're including Hobbs and Shaw, it's 10, because that's a spinoff, though. There's 10 movies in the Fast and the Furious franchise, but there's only 9 in, like, the main line. And also, I assume that you're not including the Kung Fu Panda TV show.
No, definitely not. We're just talking about movies right here. Now, you can include the offset of the Hobbs and Shaw, but it's still a movie. Kung Fu Panda 1 did just come out 5 years later, but I still believe it's infinitely better franchise in terms of quality. According to the Washington Post, Kung Fu Panda was not only wildly successful here, grossing at $631 million against a $130 million budget.
Which, let's be honest, no one expected. DreamWorks guaranteed did not expect it was going to blow up like it did. Disney made their animated movies expecting them to do well. Right. DreamWorks makes their animated movies hoping that they do well. Some of them have famously not done well, but they always have some that just blow up unexpectedly. No one expected Kung Fu Panda to have the lineage that it does. And the more famous example would be from Shrek. Right?
Yes.
They did not expect Shrek to be as big as it was. Shrek has several movies in its own franchise, and then did it have a TV show? I feel like there was a TV spinoff.
The crazy part is that the part was given to Chris Farley.
Yeah,
like Chris Farley had recorded like 90% of it.
Oh, R.I.P. man.
And then, unfortunately, he passed away. So then that's when Mike Myers stepped in
and changed. And he did the entire thing, and then when they were animating it, he was like, you know what, I'm redoing the entire voice. And
it cost like $4 million or something?
Just because he was like, I want to do a different accent. And they're like, are you serious? But when it comes to DreamWorks, they don't really know they're going to pop off like that until they do.
They just hope that they do. And then, like I said, that was according to numbers.com. But one of the things I thought was really crazy was the fact that China was so confused at how Hollywood made such a great Chinese movie without being Chinese.
Yeah.
And they even interviewed one of the guys. He was a sports marketing manager, and he said, for the Washington Post, and the guy was like, listen, the Chinese have given up on the traditional culture that was left to us by our ancestors. That's why no one cares about what we have. And then they talked to another college student, and he was like, listen, everybody's too busy, and these are his words, not mine, worshiping the Western trends that we have out here rather than looking at what they have.
These are people from China.
These are people from China.
That's amazing.
Like in China.
The China, as the entertainment industry itself, we're not going to pretend like they haven't been making movies.
Right.
But it's so obvious the power of Western filmmaking and the Western entertainment industry. It is our number one export, so much that a lot of China, a lot of other countries invest very heavily in American entertainment because it makes so much money. And it's quite interesting to look at. In fact, They even said that, wasn't it Kung Fu Panda that made them get really more into animation?
Yes, and then also, like you said, let's not pretend like China doesn't make movies. But the thing is they were saying like the average movie cost them about $1.5 million to make, according to the same Washington Post article.
Yeah.
And Kung Fu Panda had $130 million budget.
That's because first of all, shout out to Chinese Americans who worked on this, film, and were like, "Hey, some of this is not accurate. We're gonna help you make this more accurate." And as soon as I heard there's a movie with Jack Black and Jackie Chan in it, I don't know how that's not going to be successful. I don't get it. How would that not do great? And plus, Dustin Hoffman is also in it.
Dustin Hoffman, Lucy Liu, Seth Rogen as Mantis, Angelina Jolie as Tigress.
Now, we've talked about this before with star-studded cast, but it's so good. You're going to watch this movie.
Dude, Crane is David Cross. Okay,
Yeah.
the cast is completely stacked. And that's why I was saying, like, the cast of Kung Fu Panda versus the cast of Fast and the Furious is not even... You can't even compare the two. Dude, you have Dustin Hoffman, man.
Okay, so wait a minute, though. To be fair, you got to consider the beginnings of each one. Let's not, like, Fast and Furious is big now, but very humble beginnings. Very humble beginnings.
Yeah.
The original, let's be serious here. The original Fast and the Furious movie, they were stealing VHS players. Everybody knows it was an early thousands movie that was meant to be one of those just throwaway movies like Cody Banks. Remember
Cody Banks or Kangaroo Jack.
This early thousands where it's like, we're gonna make a movie, it's going to be funny, it's gonna get us some dollars, and then we're gonna move on with our lives. The first budget for Fast and the Furious, this is coming from, all my numbers come from thenumbers.com, ironically.
It's the best source.
Yeah, and then Statistica. All right, I could run through each one of these numbers, but there's a lot of them, so I'm going to save you from them. Instead, I'm just going to say the first one, the budget was $38 million, but grossed $206 million, right? And none of these includes any DVD sales. This is back in the early thousands. The more recent one, F9, the budget was completely different, $200 million. The budgets were steadily increasing. Everyone can see that. It started off with stealing VHS tapes. Next thing you know, they're throwing a safe up and down the road and stuff like that. They're in Dubai and stuff. So
weren't they in space at some point?
That was the last one. They went to space, which is on like a duct tape car. There's a joke in F9 where he's, I think we're immortal, because that's how ridiculous things have been. So their last budget was $200 million for F9, but then they grossed $720 million, right? It's like a money printing machine. Their two biggest successes are F7. It's not called F7, but the seventh Fast and Furious. It was made for $190 million. I want you to guess how much it made. It's the highest grossing one.
Made like $800 million.
Higher.
$900 million?
Higher.
$1 billion? Higher. More than $1 billion?
Yeah. In the box office. No DVD sales. Higher.
1.2 billion?
Higher.
You're lying.
No, I'm not lying.
You're lying.
I'm not. I'm not.
It made $2 billion.
No, it's too high. 1.5.
And what was the against what?
A 190 budget.
$190 million budget.
Yeah. You want to talk about?
It made over $1 billion in profit, because
I'm rounding down. That 5 has some change after it, man. 1.5 billion.
Because you think about the marketing budget and everybody else has got to get paid, whatever. But they still made that one movie made over $1 billion in profit.
Now, then how much did Kung Fu Panda make overall? I'm sorry, hold on. Let me say, there is another one that is crazy too. So the budget for the 8th Fast and Furious was actually higher than the 9th one, ironically.
Really? How much did it make?
The budget for the 8th one was $250 million. Okay. But how much do you think the profit was?
$1 billion.
More. What's that one thing that goes bigger? It's 1.2.
1.2?
So multiple times
crazy,
they broke in over $1 billion at the box office. And
the crazy part is that Kung Fu Panda in total has grossed over $1.8 billion. Total. Against a $420 million budget.
That's one Fast and Furious movie.
So leaving them against each other, $1.38 billion. So that means what was it, Fast 7, you said?
Yeah,
that made
Fast 7, 1.5. Looking at Fast 8, they wait 1.2. The most recent one of F9 is going to be about 720 million. Although Hobbs and Shaw, their budget was also 200 million, but they actually made more than F9. They made 760 million. We're talking gross here.
So what would you say total all the Fast Furious movies have made?
All right, so if we're including Hobbs and Shaw, which I will, in this case.
Right, because we were talking about films.
Right. Even though it is technically a spinoff still in the world. And it wasn't like it was a spinoff and they had like multiple movies. It was just one. And I love how like F9, it took us this long to say, oh, hey, Dom has a brother, even though he's all about family.
Right, which is crazy.
So total budget, all the Fast and Furious movies went the Hobbs and Shaw spinoff, $1.3 billion for budget, right? But they're grossing $6.5 billion.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's a huge amount. This thing is a money printing machine. So
this has kept Vin Diesel's career afloat.
What is he doing other than this? Seriously.
I don't think all that much.
And you know what's great? Like Private Ryan to 20 years of Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, and then I also have a teacher who is really good friends with Vin Diesel's makeup artist.
Oh, yeah.
And she was saying that, she was like, yeah, this is the reason why Vin Diesel is culturally relevant. It's the Fast and the Furious movies. He could literally not do anything else, and every 2 years put out a Fast and Furious movie, and it's just printing money, like you said.
No one thinks when they think Vin Diesel.
No, they don't.
No. He's been in other movies. I'm having trouble thinking off the top of my head.
He was in
Riddick. He was in Riddick.
Yeah. Keep What You Kill.
Yeah. He was also in that babysitter style movie. Remember
The Pacifier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember in like the late thousands where for some reason it was this genre of films that was like, oh, I'm a tough guy, but I'm here babysitting these kids, or I have a daughter now.
Yeah, I didn't really understand
The
that.
Rock did one of those. Jackie Chan did one of those.
It was like the Tooth Fairy?
Yeah, The Rock was like the Tooth Fairy, I think. Right. Then it was like there was one. It's like someone saw Annie and was like, "Oh, I'm gonna make movie versions of the Annie genre." And then they remade Annie.
But you have to look at the average rating of a Rotten Tomatoes Fast and Furious movie.
Are we talking about audience scores here?
If you look at the Kung Fu Panda movies across the board, they're in the 80s. They're early 80s to mid 80s, which I personally think is a little too low.
What is your favorite Kung Fu Panda movie?
My favorite Kung Fu Panda movie was probably the second one.
Really? Not the original? You gotta defend it. Why? You can't just say that.
I would say Kung Fu Panda, the original, was my second favorite. But it's kind of what I think when you think about Toy Story. The story is already developed, and now it's got a jump-off point to go wherever it wants to go.
The Fast and Furious movies, they are definitely some that I don't think I need to say it. I know some people already just can imagine that some of their scores are low.
Only one of them got in the 80s. Just out of the 10 movies.
Yeah.
Only one was in the 80s.
Which one was that?
So it was Fast and Furious 7. That was the only one that had a Rotten Tomato score of in the 80s.
But no one is watching the Fast and the Furious series and it's, oh, I'm going in here expecting an Oscar.
That's true.
I'm going in here expecting
That's true.
Vin Diesel's going to give us such a huge differential performance in anything he's ever given. You know what I'm saying? I'm coming in here thinking that Tyrese is not going to cry. I'm coming in here thinking Ludacris is going to be just phenomenal. You know what I'm saying?
It's entertainment versus, quality.
They're both entertaining.
Kung Fu Panda is entertaining as well as just a quality movie.
Yeah, but
why can't you have both intertwined like Kung Fu Panda? I know I'm sounding kind of like a douchebag right now.
When you have both, that's called Star Wars. That's called Harry Potter.
Right.
Where it's so big that multiple of those movies make over $1 billion. I know this is according to the Wrap, but a lot of people have heard this around town that the budget for Fast X ballooned to $340 million, which is Dude, that's over 100. I think that's like 140 million more than their last movie. But they're the only ones who can really do that. It's a printing machine. So it's okay. If it blooms up, you're gonna make this money back.
Do you think Fast X has the potential to make $2 billion?
No, I don't think that. I think that part of the reason why F7 made so much is because it was promoted as if this was like the last one.
Oh, okay.
And now it's kind of like a trend of doing that.
A trend of those stores that you see around town, and they're always closing.
Yeah.
They're always going out of business.
They're
That's
always
like their
liquidating.
thing. Like on Hollywood Boulevard, where isn't there that one store that's just like closing everything $5?
Yeah, that's outside of the Chinese theater.
Obviously, it's still there. So,
It's been there for decades. It's been closing for decades.
but
It's Fast and Furious. I don't know. Their last movie, the F9, it's still. They made a lot of DVD sales. They got $34 million in DVD sales.
really,
Yeah. That's
last year.
yeah, man. In 2021, you're making $34 million in DVD sales. That's some movies' budgets
That's crazy.
in DVD sales, which
In
is
2021,
when
where
everyone-
DVDs are potentially non-existent because
an
of
obscure.
streaming.
Yeah, I have a theory. Kung Fu Panda was something that was like special and original. It wasn't made for the origins of them are different. Kung Fu Panda was made as if it was going to be like a Disney movie. Get a great cast.
Phenomenal cast.
Get a script. Work on the script. Their script technique in Disney is that they write a script, right, or get a rough draft of script.
Right.
They make a reel, like it's like a storyboarded, a rough draft of it with temporary voices and temporary like movements and stuff like that. They show it to the Brain Trust. If you don't know anything about this, look up Creativity Inc., which is a phenomenal book.
Yeah, you were showing me the video of how it's like the cycle.
Yeah, how they made Toy Story 3.
Right.
Yeah.
It was like the script, then they had limited animation.
Yeah.
Then they put it in front of the writers, and then
They gave notes, and then it's like a cycle.
it was just a cycle.
Kung Fu Panda did a similar thing.
That's why it's so great.
It's phenomenal.
I tell you, it's my favorite DreamWorks franchise.
Yeah.
Out of everything DreamWorks is and they make really great stuff.
Yeah.
Kung Fu Panda is it.
It's phenomenal. The story was made with room to grow, but it was made for not a lot of room to grow. It was really just made for that one movie. You know what I'm saying? They are things that allow them to have these other movies keep up with the quality, right? It's okay. We already explored how he became the Dragon Warrior in the first one. That was the first movie. A loser guy becomes a hero guy. Jack Black is a perfect. I hate how that's always Jack Black's character. It's always some fat nobody who's I'm gonna be cool one day, and then he becomes cool. It's like, yeah,
Yeah, but he does great at it.
yeah. Like when he was casted as Bowser, I was like, he's a bad guy. That's crazy.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised they didn't create a Poe character just for Super Mario Brothers for Jack Black to play.
Exactly. So then they explored, okay, who killed his parents? Then it was like, oh, one of his parents is still alive. Why did they have to be separated? And why is he the only panda in the first place? But now that I hear 4, it's like, where are they going to go with this?
The thing is at the end of 3, it took them 3 movies for him to find his family.
Yeah, but it's like those seeds were there, man. It's not like they were like, oh, okay, the second movie is about him freeing the country of Uganda or something. It wasn't something that was so completely foreign to the core story.
True.
But if Kung Fu Panda 2 was about freeing the country of Uganda, people were like, what is happening? I would not have watched
That's
this
true.
movie. But so you have to, because they're trying to keep up the quality, they're digging deeper into the story, the backstory. Fast and the Furious, it's like a TV show, man. It's like a Saturday TV show. Hey, there's a bad
It's like
guy.
Jerry Springer.
Fuck
It's like
the bad guy. Win over the bad guy. Family.
rinse and repeat. It's something you can repeat over and over again.
They're both franchises that are powerful. However, I don't see Kung Fu Panda going the distance for 10 movies just because that's not what it's for.
Do you think it's done after 4?
I gotta be honest, bro. I thought it was done after 2. My predictions have not been the great. I thought it was done after 2, bro. So I don't know. I don't even know what this 4th one. Do you know what the 4th one's about?
So the 4th movie, according to Collider, Kung Fu Panda will feature Po leaving the Valley of Peace to go to the big city, where an unexpected personification of evil will already be waiting for him. The new villain, called the Chameleon, is in town, and the Dragon Warrior's new adversary is not someone he can mess around with. Which makes this new adversary particularly dangerous is their ability to summon enemies from Poe's past, which have included one of Shifu's previous students and a crane called Gary Oldman.
A crane called Gary Oldman?
That wanted to get rid of pandas once and for all.
What did I just say with the Fast and Furious? Didn't I just say they didn't go off to fight some random person somewhere? Because that's what Fast and Furious is. It's a rinse and repeat thing.
Right.
It's a story that you don't really need to have. It's not really based in the character. The previous ones have been based in the character. Oh, who is his family? Where did he come from? Who killed him? Also I gotta master some chi and grow as the Dragon Warrior. This one, I'm not saying he's not gonna grow as the Dragon Warrior, but it doesn't sound like it's gonna be the same as the other ones.
Yeah, thinking about it a little more, it makes you think like the story was complete at the end of Kung Fu Panda 3.
I thought it was complete at the end of the first one, but it made too much money.
Yeah, I think it's dangerous to go the Fast and the Furious route where Fast and the Furious characters and everything are so entrenched and so explored that now they're like, we're going to go to space, or we're going to go to this.
Now this guy has a family member you didn't know about.
Yeah, now potentially dangerous. Yeah, I could definitely see that. But the last 3 Kung Fu Panda movies were pretty amazing in my aspect, and apparently everybody else's.
Yeah. What do you think what do you think might go wrong here?
I think what could happen potentially is the fact that they stray too far away from the source material, or they stray too far away from what makes Kung Fu Panda great, which is the fact that it's all about family. It's also talking about a different culture that we as Americans are really fascinated by, because it's thousands and thousands of years of history. But to try and go out, because what they might try and do is plan this out, right? Studios have a history of really stretching out movies past the point beyond past the point of somebody wanting to watch them, beating a dead horse.
I think the only reason the Fast and the Furious works like that is because everyone knows what it's going to be. It's not a secret. It's not, this is going to be the same high quality. Like, you don't go in, like I said earlier, you don't go in a Fast and Furious movie to be for the highest quality. You go there to be entertained.
I think the reason why Fast and the Furious also gets away with it being the way it is that it does not take itself seriously.
Yeah.
Like they even, like you said, even in the last movie, they were like, hey man, aren't we like immortal? Like they're breaking the fourth wall saying, listen, I get how ridiculous these stories are, but you still keep seeing them, so we're going to keep making them.
Right. I mean, for people like me who are quote unquote action trash, which means if it's an action movie,
love it.
Doesn't really matter what it is, I'm probably going to see it.
But that's the thing, like Kung Fu Panda takes itself like really seriously, and I'm going to give you a really high quality movie.
Yeah, but if you take yourself seriously, you can't do things that are like you have to know your lane,
which maybe is not as sustainable. Actually, it's not as sustainable as just being like you said, action trash.
We've proven, like it's been proven again and again, longevity is king.
Yes.
Longevity is king. It used to be longevity meaning DVD sales, right? People were still buying DVDs if they want to watch a movie that was not in theaters. Now it's not like that, right?
No.
So you need to just keep producing. And the crazy part is that Fast and Furious, like when those movies come out, there's no other giant blockbuster movies with as many cars or people that you know. There'll be stuff like, I don't know, like The Rock's Rampage or something like that. But you don't really know that character or any of those characters. Like, first of all, it's based off a video game.
Yeah,
Second of all,
it's based off a video game, and plus The Rock plays in it. No disrespect to The Rock, but is he really going to give you an Oscar-winning performance based off a video game?
Yeah, but you're not really, to be fair, you're not expecting it. But it's compared to the Fast and Furious, where it's, at least I know these people.
Yeah, like, you grew up with these people.
Yeah, I'd rather watch my best friend jump over an explosion than some rando.
Yeah, it's some experimental art film that could potentially be very high class and stuff like that.
Yeah, and especially they've gotten so far, they can't really go off story. because the story ended so long ago.
Yeah, like you said, the story started with them stealing VCRs. It's not really much of a story to begin with.
Exactly. It's a Saturday morning where, the good guys versus the bad guys, and they win. Kung Fu Panda has a way deeper meaning, man. Unfortunately, because it's a deeper meaning, you don't have that far to go.
Yeah, you don't have that repeat success.
All right, what are your predictions for the outcome of Fast X?
I think Fast X, since you said it spent so much money, $370 million, right?
$340 million, yeah.
$340 million. I predict that it'll probably make at least $1.7 billion.
$1.7 billion? Do you think it's going to break its record?
Yeah, I definitely think it might break its record, but people could be tired of it.
Why do you think it's going to break its record?
Because studios don't typically spend more money than they need to.
Okay.
They're very stingy with their money.
Yeah. They clearly make enough anyway. So for them to greenlight, I'll give you an extra $100 million. Something had to happen.
Something had to happen for them to be able to be like, yeah, no problem. I'll give you $100 million more.
It could be horrible. Something horrible could have happened. We don't know. I don't know what happened. And then, so what's your prediction for Kung Fu Panda 4?
I think Kung Fu Panda 4 is going to do pretty well.
Do you think it'll be rated as high or will take liked as much as the previous one?
Possibly no, because it's straying away from the complete story of Kung Fu Panda. Because the story of Kung Fu Panda is based around Po.
I totally joked as I did not know what the Kung Fu Panda 4 story was about until you just said it. When you're like, oh yeah, I literally just made a joke. Oh, if he goes to some random place like Uganda and then saves it, that's not really the story. And then you literally he goes to some random place. It's not Uganda, but he goes to some random place. Exactly what I just said.
In Kung Fu Panda 3, the story was pretty much complete. So if you want to make another movie, you have to venture outside of the universe.
But they could have done other things. Okay, we've digged into Poe. He's our main character, this and that. He doesn't really have a ton of insecurities left, but there are some that you could poke fun at. You can still poke fun at his weight, even though he's a kung fu master, so it doesn't really work.
It doesn't really track.
What he could do is, you could do some stuff like, you could redefine his relationship with the Five. When the Five were presented, I remember watching the first movie and watching the trailer for the first movie when I was young.
They were like the best warriors.
These were the guys, you know what I'm saying? Oh my gosh, they were so cool. Not only types of kung fu, but stances in kung fu as well. Different, you know what I'm saying? So there was so much depth to these characters they're just brimming with. And then it's annoyed me that they just never touched on it.
Yeah, they could have done some prequels. Like, what I would imagine they'd have to do market research. It's, what if you did standalone films for each of the Furious Five of how they became the Furious Five?
Yeah, I think that the prequels would have been cool. I think that they should have. I think they did one for Monkey, where you met Oogway, but that wasn't a movie. It was like, I think it was like an episode of the TV series or something.
Yeah.
I forget where I saw it. But no, I was really thinking they could do something more. If the Furious Five feels, because he's the Furious Five. They're mixing my franchise. If the Five kind of feel like they're not useful or something like that, because Poe has everything now. So then it puts a wedge between these five protectors where they were at once the top of their class. They're once the people who protected everyone.
Because there was no Dragon Warrior.
There was no Dragon Warrior. They are prestigious. The Dragon Warrior was supposed to be one of them, but that was already explored in the first movie. They touched on it, but I feel like it's still there. You know what I'm saying? Like, they can still go somewhere with, okay, if you don't need us, then, we're going to leave or something.
Have some conflict.
Yeah. I don't know. But those are our predictions for Fast X and
Kung Fu Panda 4.
Yeah, Fast X is coming out in May, but we're going to have to see as of today, we have not seen it. It's not of this recording anyway. But we'll have to see what's really going to down with Kung Fu Panda 4.
Yeah, I'm excited.
All right. This has been Film Center. My name's Derek Johnson II.
I'm Nicholas Killian.
And we'll see you next time.
See you.
This has been Film Center on Comic-Con Radio. You can follow the show at Film Center News on all major social media platforms. Until next time, this has been Film Center.